Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the DCJS and SUNY University Center for Academic and Workforce Development, Educational Opportunity Center, and ATTAIN Labs resource webinar. We are so excited to share the information contained in this webinar with you, and the lineup of presenters from our partners at SUNY UCAWD is stellar. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few technical components of this webinar. All attendees will be muted throughout the presentation. You will have the ability to type questions in either the chat or the Q&A feature throughout the presentation. At the end of our presentation, we will have the opportunity to answer any questions you may have posted. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce the Deputy Commissioner and Director of the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services, Office of Probation and Correctional Alternatives, Mr. Robert Macarone, who will kick off the welcoming remarks.
Thank you very much, Michelle, and I'd like to acknowledge the hard work of Michelle Clark and the entire team, including Taylor Alfred and Frank Cangiano in that unit that have worked so hard on this presentation today with SUNY and the Educational Opportunity Center in Monroe County. Our partners at SUNY at the Educational Opportunity Center and the ATTAIN Labs, including Dr. John Graham, Lisa McKay, and Dr. Roosevelt Marius. We have a very exciting presentation for you, and I'll be very brief today just to say that I've visited the ATTAIN Lab in the EOC in Monroe County, and was really overwhelmed by the wealth of resources that are available. I think of the EOCs and the ATTAIN Labs as the best-kept secret in New York State. These are services, these are trainings, these are certifications and resources that can help people change their lives. With the training, the excellent training that's provided through SUNY and the Educational Opportunity Centers, people can obtain the credentials, whether it's an HSC or training as an assistant to a nurse practitioner, and obtain good paying jobs. Employment, as we know in criminal justice, is the means of changing your life, a means of support, a form of daily affirmation of self-worth. Employment, vocational, and educational training can make a real difference. So I want to thank our partners. I want to thank the team, and I want to thank our partners at the EOC in Monroe County for the wonderful support that they've provided and the wonderful collaborative relationship that we have with them. I think you'll enjoy today's program. Thank you so much, Michelle.
And now, if we're able to please hear from Dr. John Graham.
I'm delighted to be here. First, let me just thank you to our Crohn's. Thank you so much for your kind words. I just give a little praise, if I may, to the EOC's leadership. Lisa McKay has been an extraordinary champion for quite some time. I have so much respect for her, the work that she does. I also would like to thank those who work at the ATTAIN Lab day in, day out, doing the exceptional work that they do. You are appreciated, you are not unheard, and you are not unnoticed. You are recognized and deeply, deeply appreciated for the heavy lift. I'm so thankful to have a partnership that really deals with reentry and other important elements of people in our society. I think it's mission critical that we do the people's work, and we need to count everyone. Everybody matters, and it all matters. I also like to give just a brief remark, if I may, to one of my outstanding EOC directors, and there are plenty, all of them. I'd just like to a special warm greeting to Dr. Roosevelt Marius, who's been doing just a championship level of work at SUNY Rochester. Roosevelt, thank you for your leadership. And all the EOC directors, the ATTAIN Lab board manager, and I just want to thank you all for the work that you do day in and day out. Looking forward to an exciting afternoon, and I'm deeply appreciated and humbled to have the opportunity to speak. Thank you so much.
Ms. Lisa McKay?
Yes. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, DC Macarone, and certainly John Graham for your warm, kind words of welcome. I'm very pleased to be here with you today to share this great New York State resource that are our Educational Opportunity Centers and ATTAIN Labs. Today you'll hear about how our education and training programs empower upward mobility all around New York State. And then you get to take a virtual tour of one of our flagship locations in Rochester, New York. If you have not had the opportunity, once the travel restrictions are lifted, to go and tour an EOC in person, I would encourage you to do so. For those of you in the Rochester area, please take a look. Please stop by and see our Rochester EOC. So I want to thank everyone who's participating today. I understand there's probably close to 150 people the last time I checked that were on the call today. And so my hope that is by the end of today's call, you will leave this presentation energized and excited about EOC. I can tell you personally, since I've been at UCAWD, working with returning citizens is something that has been very, very important to me. And I just wanted to thank everyone who's had a hand in putting this presentation together. It probably comes across that I'm very proud of the life-changing work that we do. And I'll be around to the end to answer any questions that you might have specifically. And just wanted to thank you again for your time, for your attention, and for your participation today. Thank you.
Dr. Roosevelt Marriott.
Good afternoon, everyone. Bonsoir. Comment allez-vous? On behalf of our EOC, I would like to thank Deputy Commissioner Macaron and his team for the leadership in highlighting the EOCs and the ATTAIN Lab, as well as thank you to Ms. McKay and Dr. Graham for your continued support. The Rochester EOC has been transforming lives for over 50 years. The Rochester EOC has also transformed my life. 20 years ago, I started at our EOC as a security guard with only a high school diploma. Today, I am the dean of our EOC with a PhD. It happened because many staff at our EOC saw my potential and encouraged me to do better. Therefore, today, as the dean of our EOC, my job is to do the same, especially for those who are underserved, such as the ex-offenders. Every year, I intentionally mentor one or two ex-offenders to guide them, to share my wisdom with them. I'm proud to say many of them have been very successful. One in particular I would like to highlight is an ex-offender who happened to be a sex offender. Nobody wanted to give him a chance. Finally, he heard about our EOC, and he came, he met with me. And I told him, I'm going to give you an opportunity, but I want you to meet with me every week. And sometimes when I couldn't meet with him, he was very disappointed because he wanted to meet with me every week. 6 months after he enrolled at our EOC in the GED program, he was able to take the exam and passed it. And then he went to Monroe Community College and made the dean list. As you can see, we are making a difference at our EOC. I'm also proud of all the faculty and staff who graduated from our EOC and returned to give back. We have about 10 faculty and staff who graduated from our EOC who are now employed at our EOC as staff and instructors. In a few minutes, you will hear from one of them. The video you're about to see captures the importance of training and education to individuals who are re-entering not only society, but the workforce. You will hear from Mr. Wade Davis. He's a master barber. He has owned his business for over 20 years. You will also hear from Carl Thomas, who graduated from our from our barbering program. He's a great example of if first you don't succeed, try and try again. At our Rochester, our EOC, and all the EOCs and ATTAIN Lab in New York State, we believe in second opportunity, third opportunities. So I'm glad that the Rochester EOC and all the EOCs exist in New York State, because we are making a big, big difference. So I thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited you're about to hear from Wade Davis and Carl Thomas. Thank you for the continued support.
Okay, hello. My name is Wade Davis, and I am a master barber as well as the barbering program instructor here at the Rochester EOC. I can really relate to the parolees and the struggles they have. I've been locked up several times over many years, until one day I realized that I had never really had a full year on the outside between the years of 1990 and 2000. I began to ask myself, what's going on? And I knew I had to make a change. I was determined to make my last incarceration period useful for my future and decided to do something with myself. At that time, I was able to work as a barber, assisting the instructor, which led to receiving my license upon release. Once I was released, I knew there were parole requirements to complete in order to be productive in society. This world was changing rapidly while I was in prison. I mean, computer and technology seemed to be everywhere and in everything. Luckily, I found my way to the REOC. I graduated from their computer training program in 2000, and shortly after my release, and it didn't stop me there. I was determined to not repeat what my history tried to dictate to me. I opened my own barbershop. I took my skills and determination and kept moving forward, eventually becoming a New York State Barber Examiner. I really wanted to touch the lives of others and to show how it can also be done in their lives. I wanted to be encouragement. I wanted to show them that while the struggle is there, the benefit is attainable, and through my story, they could see how it's done. I began working at REOC as an instructor in 2011 when the barbering program started. Each year we grow with new students who have varied experience in life and come from various backgrounds. I like to share my experience with those who I know may need to see themselves in someone else. I am that someone else. I have succeeded, and I know that I am here to help others to get to that place. And one of those individuals is Mr. Carl Thomas.
Hello, my name is Carl Thomas. I am a 2017 graduate of the REOC barbering program, and Mr. Davis was one of my instructors. I have always had a passion for barbering. My path, while very similar to Mr. Davis, did not take the same road. While I had a passion for barbering at a young age, I never realized it. When we are young, sometimes we don't see what's right in front of us. My uncle owned a barbershop, and when I was 17, he tried to get me to take over his shop. I missed that opportunity, even though it was right in front of me. Instead, I did a series of jobs that always got me through the moment, but that never had stability. I guess barbering wasn't what I was looking for at the time, or maybe I just didn't know what I needed. Well, after time and jobs and a series of events, I found myself in jail. I knew quickly that jail was not where I wanted to be or stay. After I was released, I fell back into job jumping until I realized all this time that the passion for barbering was still there. A friend directed me to REOC. I thought it was going to be easy. I thought I would show my instructors and my other fellow students how much I knew. Well, I soon found out how much I needed to learn. Tests were difficult, the work was challenging, but not impossible. What stood out was the honesty of my instructors and how I could relate to them. Mr. Davis saw himself in me and mentored me through the program, the internship, and I still work at the shop to this day. I want to let everyone know how the struggle came after the graduation, getting my actual license. In order to obtain my license, I not only had to pass the program, pass the exam, but then I had to provide so much paperwork and my certificate of relief. It took almost 2 years for me to be able to get all of that stuff. Many others that I knew didn't stick to it like I did. Without Mr. Davis, I may not have stuck to it myself. I am here to tell you that I know it can be done, but with support. There needs to be more discussion about what is needed, how we can partner and work with each other, how we can make the process better so more who are trying to re-enter the workforce don't get frustrated and give up. I am proud to say that after trying for 2 years to get my license, I didn't give up. I am a barber, I have clientele, I work with Mr. Davis, and I am successful.
Heard from some very hardworking and remarkable men who changed the trajectory of their lives with the assistance of the SUNY Educational Opportunity Centers and ATTAIN Labs. It is our hope moving through this presentation that you are encouraged by the words you've heard and the resources you are about to hear about. The people we work with deserve the opportunities that EOC's outreach centers and ATTAIN have to offer, and it is our job as community correction professionals, ATI program professionals, county reentry task forces, and the like, to connect them to these valuable resources. To that end, we have many presenters, both live and pre-recorded for today's event. Myself and my colleague Frank Cangiano from OPCA will be presenting. The following presenters will be with us today from SUNY University Center for Academic and Workforce Development. Mr. Kent Goldwire, Workforce Development Specialist, Reentry Initiatives. Karen Weick, Senior Site Supervisor, Broome County, ATTAIN Labs. Patty Bougeri, Community Relations Coordinator at the Rochester EOC. And as you've heard, Wade Davis, Master Barber, Rochester EOC faculty member and alumnus. And as a very special feature of this webinar, Mr. Wade Davis will be available during the questions and answers portion today. Let's go over the highlights for this event. This webinar was developed with a very specific target audience in mind, people who work with justice-involved and returning citizens. So for today's presentation, we are going to hear from some very knowledgeable professionals about the Educational Opportunity Centers, otherwise known as EOCs, and the Advanced Technology Training and Information Networking, also known as ATTAIN, in New York State. And then the most exciting aspect of our presentation today is a virtual tour of the Rochester EOC, which, as you will see, is an amazing institution. We've already shared with you the testimonials of 2 alumnus of the Rochester EOC, which I hope you found as inspiring as I did. And last, we will be giving attendees the opportunity to ask questions about the EOC and ATTAIN Labs, their programs, locations, and support services. When we train community correction professionals, we provide information to support learning objectives. And for this particular topic, we hope to provide the following: to guide you through a myriad of resources available at EOCs and ATTAIN, to provide you with the information you need to be able to refer your clients and connect them to EOCs and ATTAIN Labs, and to link you as community corrections professionals to staff within the EOCs and ATTAIN Labs across the state. In terms of our target audience for today's webinar, I'd like to first draw your attention to the number of county probation departments in New York State. A total of 57 counties, and one covering the 5 boroughs of New York City, provide supervision while providing programming as well as linkages to resources and services to individuals who are serving time on probation. Probation departments in New York State currently serve upwards of 83,000 adults and roughly 17,000 youth. Probation officers are responsible for assisting probationers to find vocational, educational resources, as well as employment opportunities, as these have a significant impact on reducing recidivism. The professionals who work within our 20 county reentry task forces, our over 160 alternative to incarceration programs, as well as the 13 employment-focused services programs across our state, also need access to services to address the vocational, educational, and also the employment needs of participants they serve. We partner also with the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision to provide reentry services to returning citizens. And having access to the resources offered by the Educational Opportunity Centers, as well as ATTAIN Labs, is essential to increasing the academic and vocational achievements of those coming back into our communities. Statewide, the EOCs, outreach centers, and ATTAIN Labs partner with many state, county, and local organizations, which are listed here. Each one of these organizations serve justice-involved individuals. With the assistance of EOCs and ATTAIN, these individuals can truly change their lives for the better, as you heard in the earlier testimonials from Mr. Wade Davis and Mr. Carl Thomas. Of note, SUNY UCAWD has the ability to provide reports to community corrections professionals on attendance, participant progress, and usage of the resources in EOCs and ATTAIN Labs. At this time, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Mr. Kent Goldwire from SUNY UCAWD. Kent, good afternoon, and thank you for being here with us today.
Afternoon, Michelle. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Taylor, can you hear me okay?
All good.
First, let me add my congratulations to the Deputy Commissioner Bob Macarone from DCJS and his entire professional team that has worked so diligently to put this webinar together. We at SUNY greatly appreciate your effort and the ongoing partnership, because we believe, just as you do, that everyone deserves a second chance. For the past 54 years, State University Center for Academic and Workforce Development has been transforming lives of non-traditional and adult learners throughout New York State. We have a footprint of approximately 47 sites throughout the state, including 10 EOCs, 2 career counseling and outreach centers, as well as 35 state-of-the-art ATTAIN Labs, everywhere from the North Country to Brentwood and Long Island. We also have a 2-track organizational structure, one which is academic-oriented, and the other promotes workforce development programming. Now, if you don't retain anything from this webinar that I say or any of my colleagues say, please don't miss this. At no cost, free of charge, all of our services are available to returning citizens, non-traditional citizens, as well as community residents here in New York State, because we are nearly totally funded by the New York State Legislature, and more specifically, the 50-member Black and Hispanic Caucus, which are our key stakeholders. Next slide, please, Taylor. From a historical background, the EOCs, as I stated, were created back in 1966. Our founder, the former Deputy Speaker and retired Arthur O.E. from Buffalo, came to Albany as a freshman legislator with 2 major initiatives under his belt. He wanted to create access to education, and he also wanted to do prison reform during his tenure in Albany. He was immediately mentored by the Harlem Four, and you see the names that are listed there. Honorable Basil Patterson, who went on to be the Secretary of State for New York. Honorable Charlie Rangel, who went on to be a distinguished leader in Congress in Washington, D.C. The Honorable David Dinkins, who became the first Black mayor of New York City. And last but by no means least, the late Honorable Percy Sutton, the entrepreneur from Harlem who created the Inner City Broadcasting Company, which was the parent company for the Apollo Theater, as well as WBLS 107.5 FM on your dial, The Quiet Storm. I always wanted to do that. In 1973, the first 8 EOCs were consolidated under the SUNY System Administration. And then in 1977, Schenectady Career Counseling and Outreach Center was created in downtown Schenectady. In 1985, the Bronx EOC was located at the Bathgate Industrial Site on 3rd Avenue and 172nd in the Bronx. In the following year, the Queens EOC was founded at Gertz Plaza, which is now relocated to One Jamaica Center in Queens. And then in 1997, the SUNY North Bronx Career Counseling and Outreach Center, which was sponsored by the current New York State Assembly Speaker, Carl Hastie, was created. Next page. The outreach centers are actual feeders to some of the EOCs. The Schenectady Career Counseling and Outreach Center feeds the Capital District EOC located in Albany and Troy. The North Bronx Career Counseling Center feeds the downstate New York City centers that are in the Bronx, in Brooklyn, in Manhattan, Queens, and we also have an ATTAIN Lab there in Staten Island. Next slide, please. In 2001, the University Center for Academic and Workforce Development expanded our footprint to include 35 ATTAIN state-of-the-art computer labs. Now, my colleague, Ms. Karen Weick, who's the statewide coordinator for ATTAIN out of the Broome County Urban League ATTAIN Lab, will be going into more detail about the various services and more specifically, the robust software that we offer all of our clients. Aztec, which is the academic software, and Edmentum, which is the workforce development software. So she'll be going into more specifics at that time. Next slide. Our programs and services. As I mentioned, we have a two-track system. The academic track focuses on adult basic education, which leads to high school equivalency, which is formerly known as GED, in preparation for the New York State Education Department TAS exam. English as a second language is one of our growing programs in the academic side, as well as our college preparation in our more recent College Connections Initiative, or CCI, which exposes all of our students, both our academic students, our workforce development students, and our community residents, to the possibility and option of going on to college. Because regardless of which track you take, you always want to be in a position of being a lifelong learner, and iron sharpening iron. You always, always, always have to upgrade your skill sets. Next slide. Advanced manufacturing is another major in-demand industry cluster that we look at, such as allied health. That's okay, you can keep it there. Allied health, which, as you know, our essential workers are very, very important, especially during this pandemic and health crisis that we're currently going through in this country. We produce home health aides, certified nurse assistants, medical assistants, pharmacy tech, emergency medical technicians, and licensed practical nurses. So you can see the EOCs and ATTAIN Labs are on the forefront of this pandemic and assisting wherever possible. Advanced manufacturing and those construction-related programs are on a growing rise because they offer high-paying, self-sufficient jobs for those who are interested in applying for construction-related opportunities. And last, but by no means least, information technology is very much in demand, as you can imagine. Back in, I'll say, the early 2000s when we first created ATTAIN, more than 75% of the households didn't have access to the internet, let alone technology equipment. And nowadays, suffice it to say, probably most of us on this phone or on this webinar have at least 2 cell phones, a laptop, an iPad, a desktop, as well as any other device. And we found out from our recent discussions with the ATTAIN Lab staff that if you gamers have a PS4 gaming console, you might be able to access our ATTAIN Lab programs as well. How's that for technology improvements? Next slide. Now, this student support services is a unique feature which separates the EOCs, our non-traditional students, from traditional students. We offer a high-touch, personal, and holistic approach to our non-traditional students and adult learners, mainly because they are survivors. They've been through all the barriers that life has to throw at them, and they're more concerned about how much we care for their success as opposed to how much we know. So their success is our success, and we appreciate the opportunity to share them what Ms. McKay, our Associate Provost, likes to refer to as heart work, H-E-A-R-T, because we're willing to do the hard work, H-A-R-D. Next slide.
Hello, my name is Keith Krupczynski, and I am the Career Services Administrator at the Rochester EOC. The Educational Opportunity Centers are funded on 4 measurable benchmarks: enrollment, retention, completion, and placement. Successful college and/or career placement is the ultimate goal, and a goal that extends well beyond being a numerical indicator of success. It is a goal intended to give every student at the REOC a chance to realize their life-changing opportunity. We are dedicated to the success of our students. We are outcome-driven and have the success of our students at the core of everything that we do. Without the success of each of our students, the EOCs would not be able to continue to offer the in-demand programming we have provided to the community for more than 50 years. Even a pandemic will not slow us down or deter the important and necessary work we do for the community every single day. We are constantly evaluating the needs in our community and how we can align those needs with the necessary programs and channels that lead to life-changing opportunities for our students. At the Rochester EOC, one of the tools we have developed is the online student portal, where individuals can view and apply to job postings, upload their resumes, and even schedule career counseling sessions. Employers also have access to this portal and are able to search and contact students directly for potential career opportunities. We offer numerous career development workshops related to resume building, interviewing skills, the job search, and various other topics supporting each student's career interests and individual strengths. It is through the nurtured value in our partnerships with local employers and community stakeholders, our developmental resources, and each other, on which we pride both ourselves and the success of our students. The primary purpose of the EOCs is to provide life-changing opportunities to the people we serve. By accessing the programs and services of the EOCs, each student not only has the opportunity to make a difference in their life, but they also make a difference in the lives of their families, their friends, their community, and most importantly, their future.
Taylor, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we have you. We can hear you.
All righty. In terms of sustainability, in order to exist for the next 54 years, we have to constantly continue to improve our brand. And for that regard, we are focusing on new targets and special populations. SUNY System Administration has identified and hired a director of prison education and a consultant who are in the process of inventorying our series of different prison education programs at roughly half of our 64 campuses. Under the direction of Dr. John Graham, he has organized a committee of critical populations, which takes into account best practices that are being offered to the reentry population, foster care population, veterans, students with special needs, as well as disabled and physically challenged and handicapped. At the UCAWD, under the direction of Associate Provost Lisa McKay, we have identified a reentry initiative which basically identifies and targets at a minimum 2 designated staff that specifically outreach to the reentry clients that we receive referrals from Department of Corrections and Community Supervision, or DOCCS, the Division of Criminal Justice Services, as well as the County Reentry Task Force around the state. We also have created a number of internal statewide committees, such as the Reentry Education and Employment Committee, which is being chaired by 2 executive directors from our Queens EOC and our North Bronx Career Counseling Center, as well as the Male Initiatives Committee, which is chaired by our Manhattan EOC Executive Director and our Syracuse EOC Executive Director. They are focused on trying to develop shorter-term programs such as OSHA, such as asbestos and lead removal, air monitoring, and advanced manufacturing to boost our male and female enrollment, because we know that our demographics demonstrate that 70% of our programming is made up of female participants. Therefore, the 30% of male participants demonstrate room for growth. And we also would like to highlight any new or potential partnerships since the one that was developed by the Manhattan EOC with CUNY's John Jay College Criminal Justice Institute has developed a partnership whereby for the next 3 years and beyond, the Manhattan EOC will be providing wraparound services to the returning citizens from Rikers Islands downstate. We also have developed new partnerships with the Department of Transportation, who is focusing on developing a diverse population and workforce for the heavy highway construction projects that they're going to be either planned or in process for the next 5 years, as well as working closely with our corporate partner, National Grid, which has developed a training program for meter repair and welding. So we're looking forward to continuing these partnerships, as well as the one we have with all those who are participating today, and I thank you for your attention.
Hello?
Good afternoon, Patty.
Good afternoon. Everyone can hear me okay?
Yes, you're live.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. My name is Patty Boudry, and I'm the Community Relations Coordinator for the Rochester EOC. While the Rochester EOC is one of 10 EOCs in the system across New York State, we all have our similarities in our programming, yet there are some differences. So today I will be highlighting the similarities for you and also tell you why our centers have programming and services that may be unique as well. In addition, I'll take you on a brief tour of the Rochester EOC so that you can see what our center has as its physical space for our students. I will also show you the common areas and supports for the students, talk about services, and show you our lab, restaurant, barbering, and cosmetology program and salon, and our ATTAIN Lab room that we were so wonderfully spoken about a little while ago. The programs at all the EOCs are based on the in-demand occupations in our areas. The Rochester EOC is heavily in healthcare, and we are heavily healthcare driven because there are 7 hospitals and numerous immediate care facilities and countless physicians and physicians off in the Monroe and immediate surrounding county area, with the furthest distance being 30 miles away. You can see all of the REOC programs in person on the screen, and if you were able to look into each EOC's programs, you would see similarities and differences. But there is one great thing. As long as an individual is a resident of New York State for 1 full year, they are eligible to apply for programs in any EOC, regardless of their location within New York State. This may make a difference to some individuals, and it has happened with many of our students. Our second program focus are our service-driven programs, as they are the support to the population and the needs of the community. EOC programs are New York State reviewed, and all certification programs and licensure programs go through a rigorous review and approval process prior to being offered to the community. We have to do our due diligence in order to prove viability of our programs. And make no mistakes, EOC's programs are by no means less than, because as Mr. Goldwire said before, because they are free to qualifying individuals. And as a matter of fact, and I might be slightly biased because I have chosen to be employed with REOC for over 20 years, but contrary to that, the EOC programs are quality programs driven by benchmarks inherent in the EOC. We are not income driven, we are outcome driven, and each of our 4 benchmarks are for the benefit of our students. Enrollment into the program, retention in the program, completion of the program, and placement in employment or college. We are measured on these benchmarks consistently and constantly. Without meeting and exceeding our goals, we will not have been in business for over 50 years. Our similar programs throughout each of the 10 EOCs are high school equivalency, English for speakers of other languages, and college preparation. Our physical plans may differ, but each is sponsored by either a SUNY or a CUNY college, further tying that college placement connection.
The Rochester EOC is 5 floors and 120,000 square feet of area. The College of Rockport downtown campus is housed on the 5th floor. As we look at the common areas that you're looking at now, I ask you, does this look like a school? I am fortunate enough to be able to talk to many individuals about the EOC, and the first question that I ask many of them is, did it look like a school to you? From the outside, from the inside? And hands down, their answer has always been no. It looked and reminded them of a business. And I have to tell you, this was done purposefully. Many of our students, as I know many of those that you work with, have life happen to them along the way. School may not have been the best experience for them, and why would they want to re-experience it again? We have created an atmosphere that is both challenging and welcoming, all the while preparing our students for their next step to workforce or to college. EOC's programs are less than 1 year in length, and the Rochester EOC's classes may be anywhere from 1 day to 40 weeks, depending on the content. Our students have to be ready to move along at a rapid pace, but targeted pace. They will sometimes be getting 2 years worth of instruction in 40 weeks. So when they come in, we want them to feel like an adult, making adult decisions and having adult educational experiences. From the reception area to the classrooms, to the lunchroom, to the extra services, such as counseling, career services, college services, Learning Resource Center, and ATTAIN, they are treated as an adult with lives and having to balance everything. Our healthcare programs have clinical experiences, both internal and external. The cosmetology area and barbering area are open to the public with their salon services at either free or reduced services and cost. And the culinary arts area, which is our bistro. Out of a non-pandemic area and time that we are now, they serve the public. But as we have changed within the past since March, we offer those same services with real-life experiences, hands-on experiences for our students, and offer those same quality services to both our faculty and staff and the students that are at the EOC right now. In addition to the clinical experiences, we have countless internship sites. The Rochester EOC has a great partnership with our local reentry parole team. Monthly meetings are held with many partners explaining what services are offered and available. The ATTAIN Lab personnel in our Rochester EOC go to these same partnership collaborations once a month. I personally have been providing presentations for the past 8 years. And my biggest message I tell the ladies and gentlemen that I speak to is to say that honesty is the key, just like Carl Thomas was alluding to earlier. We need to know about you so we can make sure that you are ready, but also that you're prepared for the documentation you may need to be successful, and that's where you all can help. We do not want to have someone be turned away from a clinical site for something on their record, or maybe they would have had completed half the program at that time, or maybe be turned away from employment after completion of the program. So working with individuals and our offices to get the pieces in place before they come to the EOC may be the key. What's nice and great about our ATTAIN Lab locations is that you don't have to be an Educational Opportunity Center student in order to take advantage of the wonderful programs and services offered in the ATTAIN Lab. Anyone is welcome there. You heard from Wade Davis and Carl Thomas regarding their experiences at our center. They are just two of our successes in over 50 years that now give back to the community and provide another space in a program for more successes to come. I thank you for your time.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Karen.
Okay. Hello, my name is Karen Weick, and I'm the Senior Site Supervisor of the Binghamton ATTAIN Labs here in Broome County, as well as currently serving as a statewide coordinator for the ATTAIN project. Our ATTAIN project extends, as Kent Goldwire said, from New York City to Niagara Falls to Ogdensburg. Each Educational Opportunity Center and Outreach Center has an ATTAIN Lab. In addition, there are 22 ATTAIN Labs across the state that are hosted by community-based organizations. Although it is convenient to visit an ATTAIN Lab, if your community does not have one or if you cannot get to one, we offer our services remotely as well. So we can literally reach every community and every New York State returning citizen that would like to take advantage of our services.
Hello, my name is Barb Woodruff, and I'm the Rochester EOC ATTAIN Lab Coordinator. The ATTAIN Labs across New York State are an integral part of the success of our students and the communities which we serve. Our seamless services, self-paced classes, and ease of enrollment have created a link between students, employers, colleges, and success. We offer a variety of programs and classes, from introductory general computer literacy classes to IT certifications, digital literacy, entry testing practice, workforce development classes and support, and specified programming that works collaboratively with the curriculum at the EOC. We serve all individuals. An individual does not have to be a student at the EOC. However, we continuously provide referrals to the EOCs for their academic and vocational programming, and in turn, the EOCs refer individuals to the ATTAIN Lab. Our programs are built into the curriculum at the EOCs and are seamless to the students. We offer supportive wraparound programming that's applicable to individuals who may be starting or re-entering the workforce and that may need to increase their skills or build their resume with an in-demand certification, to an employee who may need to increase their computer literacy in order to advance to the next level. We're a stepping stone for those that may be thinking about returning to college or starting college and need to enhance their computer knowledge. Our programs work with the individual's needs and skill level. The process to access the ATTAIN Lab programming is simple. It only requires a phone call or email and a desire to learn. We help with all the rest. Our collaborative partnerships within the community help us to know our students, the needs of the employers, and how to continuously enhance our programming. We look forward to future partnerships and more opportunities to assist individuals with computer and digital literacy needs and with re-entry into the workforce.
So it is worth noting again on how all our services are tuition-free, and as Barb said, everyone is welcome to receive our many services. We prepare people for work, for school, and for everyday life. Through our technology training and our certifications, academic training, occupational preparation, and support for such things as creating resumes, cover letters, and applying for jobs, we offer all individuals services to meet their needs. One of our main goals is to work with people to help them become self-sufficient. For example, when someone comes to us for help with applying for a job, we not only help them create a great resume, but we also help them learn how to create and maintain the resumes themselves and how to navigate the internet in order to find and apply for jobs. Many people come and they love our Mavis Beacon teaches typing. It's fun. And everyone nowadays needs to know how to use a keyboard. On this slide, these are just a few of the services we offer. We offer training in 24 different languages through Rosetta Stone. We also offer soft skill training in such areas as customer service, financial management, working with people, and email etiquette, just to name a few. Our Microsoft training extends from basics to certifications. We have people who come to us that have never used a computer before and others who are advanced users, and that's all good. Our staff is wonderful at working with people and meeting them at their skill levels. This is a list of our globally recognized certifications. They're all industry standard certifications. And why is that so important? These certifications enhance a person's resume. They prove competency, and they usually demand higher salary. They're also great preparation for achieving any kind of academic goals that somebody might have. ATTAIN offers the training, practice tests, and the exams for free, whereas they normally come at a cost other places. We are a one-stop shop. All ATTAIN Labs are certified testing centers, and all our staff are exam proctors. An individual is able to take as many of these as they want. We have people who come to us and spend months taking our certifications, while others come maybe for a few weeks, take the one they want, and then they're on their way. We can go to the next slide here. Thank you. We also use Aztec software to deliver our academic trainings. We have various levels, as you can see, from basics to task and HSE prep. So people come to us for this training for several reasons. Some want to prepare for college, maybe prepare for that placement exam. Some are preparing for work. Let's face it, we all need to have the math skills, the reading skills, the language skills for work. And others just come for everyday life. Someone does not need to know where they are at when they come to us. We have assessments that will indicate to us the best place to start someone, and then we work with each person to develop a plan that meets their needs and helps them every step of the way. You can go to the next slide, Taylor. Thank you. For preparing for work, we use Amenum software. There are 80 semester courses in 16 career clusters from information technology, manufacturing, hospitality, finance. That's what the little bubbles are there. This service will help people explore careers. They find out what career aligns best with their interests and their skills, and the software helps prepare them for a particular career. Some of these pieces of software actually have practice tests for certifications like ServSafe and different certifications. Again, we recognize that each person is different, has different things going on in their lives, definitely, and has different goals. Someone might not be able to sit for an entire semester course, and we know that. Our staff is trained in customizing the software to meet each person's needs within their time constraints. So in summary, ATTAIN is a very welcoming, non-threatening environment where people can learn at their own pace and accomplish their individualistic goals. We welcome you, and we really value your partnership. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Frank Cangiano from the DCJS's Office of Probation and Correctional Alternatives. I hope you found this webinar to be extremely informative. I certainly did. So now I just give the participants an opportunity to type in any questions that they have. Please feel free to type in your questions into the Q&A box, as all the panelists on this webinar will be able to see them and be able to answer them as best as we can with the time we have left this afternoon. So one of the questions that we had was, what are the locations of the 10 EOCs and the 2 outreach centers? So I think this question really talks about where are all the EOCs located and the outreach centers located. So is there anyone as part of the panel would like to?
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead.
As I mentioned earlier, the 10 EOCs are in most of the major urban areas, stretching from Buffalo, Rochester, who you know is part of this presentation, Syracuse, the Capital District area, meaning Albany and Troy, and then we go down to the Mid-Hudson outside New York City area at our Westchester EOC, which is located in Yonkers. And then you have your 5 boroughs of New York City, Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, and Staten Island. Staten Island is, in fact, an ATTAIN Lab, but our outreach centers, one is upstate in Schenectady, and one is downstate in the North Bronx over on White Plains Road. And just so that you know, Frank, I believe you're going to be sending out both a map and contact information for each of these centers and ATTAIN Labs after this webinar.
Yes, that's correct. So we will be sending out to all of the attendees on this webinar information on all of the EOC locations as well as the ATTAIN Lab locations, because we do understand that this is some new information for a lot of you. Thank you very much, Kent. Another question came in that spoke specifically to Orange County, New York. So if there were clients that needed to be served in Orange County, what EOC location would be the most beneficial for them to attend?
Are we talking Middletown? What part of Orange County?
The question only indicates Orange County, not a specific city.
I mean, I'll defer to Karen to chime in, but if it's Southern Orange near Middletown, they really have two options. We have a ATTAIN Lab located at Monticello at the BOCES facility on St. John Street, or the Westchester EOC in Yonkers on South Broadway.
Correct. Yep.
Would that make sense, Karen?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, very good. Another question came in asking to provide some information on how you have assisted participants remotely during the pandemic.
I can take that from ATTAIN. We went remote. A lot of our labs are still closed, and actually that's the silver lining that occurred from this, is that it forced us to rethink how to deliver our services, and we've been very successful at delivering almost all our services remotely. So.
And on the EOC side, I'll defer to the Rochester EOC team, because I believe they have a hybrid model in doing some of the classes both remotely and in person.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we definitely have a hybrid approach. For those who have access to technology, we have classes and services for them remotely. And for those who don't, they can come to the building so we can have face-to-face, so we can help them face-to-face.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marius, for your response in regards to that. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Ken, for your response regarding the ATTAIN Labs. We're getting questions coming in fast, so I'm going to try and keep up with everything that's coming in. So one question had to do with the ATTAIN Labs. Are they accessed virtually because of the COVID-19 pandemic, or was that always an option pre-COVID?
It is primarily because of the COVID, because of the pandemic, that we went remote. But now that we're doing it and we're finding how successful it is and how it's helping so many more people, because as I said in the presentation, we're able to reach communities and people that could not get to our labs before. So it's really turning out to be a blessing that we're able to do it and help so many people.
Yeah, it sounds like the EOCs really had to change, like all of us, and really meet the participants where they're at in order to engage them in these services. So thank you for that response. And another follow-up question from the same person, they asked regarding ATTAIN students. Do ATTAIN students have to be EOC students? And therefore, do ATTAIN students need to meet the income guidelines for their enrollment?
No, the ATTAIN students do not have to be EOC students. There's 22 labs that aren't in EOCs. They're actually hosted by community-based organizations. But even the ATTAIN labs that are within the EOCs, everybody is welcome.
Okay, that's really good to know. Thank you so much for answering that for us. I'm still having some more, so bear with me as I go through them. In general, are there income requirements in order to obtain services, let's just say for the EOC itself?
Frank, I can take that one.
Okay, go ahead, Kent.
All right. We have basically 3 tests for eligibility because remember, as I mentioned during my part of the presentation, we're set up to serve the undereducated, the underemployed, and the underserved communities throughout New York State. So yes, there are income guidelines for the EOCs, but because we're publicly funded, we do have a responsibility to the community at large. That's why our courses are tuition free. But yes, there's a income eligibility, there's an academic eligibility, and there's also a residential eligibility, meaning you would have to have lived in New York State for the previous 12 months to be eligible. And that's for the EOCs.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Kent, for answering that question. Is enrollment first come, first served, or are there slots set apart for probationers as well as other individuals who have criminal histories?
I'll take that one. For the Rochester EOC, enrollments are first come, first served. However, we do have partners where we save some spots for them. You know, for example, we partner with this organization that help youth, and they tell us to save a few spots. We definitely can do that. As long as they tell us ahead, we can save a few spots for them, but it is on a first come, first served basis.
And also, Frank, to elaborate on Dr. Marius, because of the pandemic and that we want to be responsible in adhering to the CDC guidelines, so social distancing, wearing masks, accessing sanitary equipment, we have to make sure that our classroom size is going to be sufficient and equally safe for everyone. So therefore, some of the classrooms will be reduced in capacity. So as Dr. Marius said, first come, first serve. If the classroom is full, there's always opportunity to offer another session or cycle, or even developing waiting lists at some point in some of the EOCs. But for the most part, a lot of things are being done remotely because of the pandemic.
And the other example I want to share, for example, we offer a CNA program, and there's a partner in the community that reach out to us and say they have a cohort for us to do a CNA program for them. So we were able, like Kent just mentioned, deliver that program for them separately.
Okay, great. Thank you both so much for your response to that question, because it's an extremely important one, because we want to make sure that that clients are being served not only to the best of your ability as a center, but also on a timely basis as well. So thank you very much to the two of you for answering that question. I'd like to ask actually Wade Davis himself to perhaps speak a little bit about the success and what he found most helpful to his success during his involvement with the EOC. So Wade, are you on?
Yes, I'm on. First of all, let me just thank Dr. Marius and my co-workers here at the Rochester Educational Opportunity Center for this opportunity to participate. My first involvement with REOC was my mother was actually a teacher at the old building for cosmetology. And when we jump all the way to the year 2000, coming home from doing a 5-year stint, I just really needed to find myself. I needed to have some successes, and I've heard about the REOC. So I immediately enrolled in their computer tech program at the time, and that went very well. And you know, the success part, the success of graduating, of doing something positive right out the gate was really a great enhancement to my self-esteem, you know, and so I got to give big ups to REOC for that. They made a way for me to come in. I came through the VESIT program, which is now called something else, and they made it happen for me. And you know, that success right there, I think when you come out of a situation such as I did, you need some successes in your life, and you need them quick. And the program wasn't long, but it was thorough. And it also took away some idle time, because that could be detrimental to a person coming out with nothing to do. So I wanted to give big ups to REOC for that. Jump all the way now to 2011. I think I started working with REOC, and that was like a big turnaround for me. A very big thing in my life was the opportunity to become a teacher and instructor at REOC. It showed me that, you know, those strikes that I had against me from my past didn't really have to hold me down. They opened my arms. I got to give Dr. Melba Brown big up, because she introduced me to REOC to me. So I wanted to thank her for her involvement in this process. I think it's a wonderful program. I'm sorry Mr. Thomas is not with me today. He had something that came up. But Mr. Thomas has been one of my personal projects in terms of our students. He had to jump through a lot of hoops to get his license. You know, you have to come up with all the paperwork, you have to answer a lot of questions, and it could be difficult, it could be discouraging to a young man just coming out and trying to do the right thing. But he just kept going on. He pushed on. He got all the paperwork was necessary. He got with his parole officer, did everything. It actually took him 2 years to actually get his license when he got out of school after he graduated. And, you know, if you want to be within the law, you're really not supposed to work in a barbershop without your license. So, you know, if any state, if we can make that process just a little easier for some of the guys coming out, you know, I've been out now for 20 years, no more trouble, nothing else. And one of the most gratifying things is I was able to go back as my role as a New York State examiner, to go back into a prison and examine some of the guys inside the prison. And I mean, the tears were just flowing when I got out of there, because that was really, it was like a complete circle. I was able to walk within a prison and walk out on my own. So big ups to REOC for all they have done, all they continue to do. I'm so glad, so proud that we have graduated over 100 barbers out of our school for the years that I've been working there. And I feel comfortable in saying at least 70+% of those graduates are working as barbers or working at another job, but they're working. So REOC, the EOC is working very well for those that's reentering back into society.
Wow, Wade, thank you so much for your insights provided there. You are a true testament to someone who's had to face some unforeseen barriers, unpredictable barriers, and who have found some great success. And on behalf of New York State DCJS, we just wanted to thank you for being on this webinar with us, and for speaking to the success that you had.
Thank you.
So thank you again.
Thank you.
I mean, the questions are keep rolling in. I mean, this is really great to see so much interest in the EOCs and the ATTAIN Labs. I know that especially for probation officers to provide information to their clients, one of the questions that a client might ask is, what's the best way to apply for an EOC and ATTAIN Lab, either online or via phone call? In your experience, what would you say would be the best way to apply?
Well, for the Rochester EOC, you can do it both ways. Whatever way you do it, we'll take care of you. You can Google the Rochester EOC, or you can call our number, 232-2730, extension 235. No matter how you do it, we're going to take great care of you.
Area code 585.
Thank you, sir.
Merci beaucoup.
And with that,
you can register online. So you can go to any of the ATTAIN Lab websites, and there's a little button that says enroll, and you can enroll online. And what will happen is somebody will get in touch with you. Hopefully, we try within 24 hours to get in touch with you in whatever way you specified. If it was by email or by phone, whatever way you specified, we were getting in touch with you. So that's the best way right now with COVID and the way things are to register for an ATTAIN Lab.
Okay. And how about for the EOC statewide? Do you think that a phone call would be a good way to contact the centers?
Yes, I would agree, only because, as we said earlier, because of the pandemic, a lot of them are not fully open as of yet, but they are available virtually.
Okay.
And the information that you're going to send out, Frank, in the future after this webinar, you'll have both phone number, email address, and contact person for each site.
Perfect. That sounds great. I know that a lot of professionals on this call will want to start informing their clients and refer their clients for these services. Do you have any updates regarding ATTAIN Lab availabilities during the next few months, as far as what's on the calendars? I mean, when should staff start looking at the calendars? Because I specifically see in the Capital Region area that ATTAIN Lab classes have not yet been updated. So I just wanted to ask someone to see when or what's the best way to find out when they're scheduled.
Right. The Capital District, the Troy Lab, is right now receiving about 10 students they can put in their lab with the social distancing that's required. So they are holding a hybrid type thing where people can come in and use the lab and use the services, as well as they're still holding remote classes. So that's what's going on in Troy. Across the state, not all the ATTAIN Labs have opened. There aren't any ATTAIN Labs in the city that have opened yet. And upstate, the only ones opened are the three associated with the EOCs, and that would be Buffalo, Rochester, and Troy.
Okay, thank you so much, Karen, for that information. So it seems that it's really how the region is affected by this pandemic is how the services will be provided. So I'd advise the professionals who live in these regions to perhaps do some homework on their own, perhaps look into the EOCs in their areas, find out what's available, and find out what's yet to be available, just to make sure that you're informing your clients appropriately about the services that are being offered. Something specific that came through was regarding the availability of a culinary arts program. So is that something that's available either through EOC or the ATTAIN Labs right now?
Yeah, go ahead, Roosevelt, Dr. Marius.
The Rochester EOC currently has a great culinary art program. We are proud of that program. We got some great teachers, some great students, some great food. Again, you go to the Rochester EOC, and you will see what we offer. Yes, definitely a culinary art program.
And I'm not sure about the status of the Capital District Culinary Arts Program, but they can contact them at 518-273-1900 for the Troy Capital District EOC and inquire about their culinary arts program.
Is there any information regarding the EOCs in New York City and whether they offer that?
No, these are the only two in the statewide system at this point. And most of the New York cities are still closed because that's still pretty much a hot spot for the pandemic.
Okay. Yeah, and I see here that Lisa McKay indicated that anyone who's interested should really contact their local ATTAIN or EOCs for more information about what they have to offer. Because it seems that like all the EOCs are operating with different services at this point based on the regions.
Right.
So do you want to give the attendees maybe one more minute or two to put any last minute questions they have?
And Frank, if you get any questions even after this webinar, we'd be more than happy to entertain those if you just email them to us.
Hi, this is Melinda. We have a lot of questions still coming in here. So one of the questions is, are there any future plans to get ATTAIN Labs in Dutchess County? And a similar question, are there any programs in Rockland County?
Yeah, I see that came in from my partner, George. Is Lisa still on the call? Lisa, you want to handle that?
Yeah, I would love to have an ATTAIN Lab in every part of New York State, but given our COVID funding right now, new labs are being put on hold until we understand what our funding situation would be. But we're always looking for communities where we can really serve. And so I would say completely not off the table, but with budget right now, we'll have to wait until we know for sure what our funding will be.
Thank you so much. Another question, is there any assistance with transportation for those outside the metropolitan areas?
I'll try to answer that one. I think it depends on the EOC, not for ATTAIN, but some EOCs have worked out some transportation agreements where they get discounted passes for participants. It is not widespread throughout our system. It is something that, again, could be answered at the local level. We understand that transportation is a significant issue, not only for our current participants, but for all New York State residents who are trying to get somewhere without car or the means to get to where they need to be. So we do recognize it as an issue, and it is something that we've been trying to address throughout the years.
Thank you. Another one, the Capital District ATTAIN Lab is partnering with the Rensselaer CRTF to provide a Zoom and teleconferencing workshop specifically for reentry participants. Will other ATTAIN Labs be able to offer something like this statewide?
Absolutely, they would love to. Just work with your local ATTAIN Lab, the ATTAIN Lab that's within your community, and they would love to. ATTAIN does tailor a lot of their class delivery to different organizations and what their needs are. So, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Another one is surrounding just a couple of questions asking about Oneida County area, Utica and Rome, if people can participate there.
For ATTAIN, because we're remote right now, yes. And a lot of times, for instance, the Utica area, if somebody wants to do the Microsoft certifications, and this is when even the labs are opened, they will travel to one of our ATTAIN labs, say to Binghamton, to be proctored for the exam. So we offer the services for anybody in the area.
Do ATTAIN students have to supply their own laptop computer for online courses during COVID times?
Yes, they do. Some of our labs have managed to make agreements with some other community organizations where they do give out or not lease, but temporarily give laptops or Chromebooks so people can take advantage of the services, but that's again at an individual community level.
Thank you. It was mentioned that the ATTAIN students do not have to be an EOC student, so they do not require to submit online UCAWD applications.
It's still an enrollment form. There's still an enrollment form associated with enrolling in an ATTAIN lab, and there's still income that is collected, income information that's collected, because as Kent Goldwire said, we still have to track and report, but anybody is welcome in the ATTAIN. That's a New York State resident. But you do have to fill out the enrollment.
Here's a question coming from another attendee. Do ATTAIN students have to supply their own laptop computer for online courses during COVID-19?
Yes, during COVID-19, yes. But at the community level, some of our ATTAIN Labs have partnered with other community organizations who do give out those kind of resources for people. But that would be at the individual ATTAIN Lab.
Okay, all right. One question that came in had to do with the success stories that were posted on this webinar. Are these types of success stories disseminated on either PSAs or on flyers and posted in let's just say local probation offices or local websites in the regions? I think what people are trying to say is, can they be used in other locations?
Sure.
As part of your advertisement services?
For the Rochester EOC, when we have like major events, for example, we have a major community leaders breakfast that we have every year where half of Rochester come, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but half of Rochester come to the breakfast. And a few years ago, we had Wade Davis as a speaker. So every time we have an opportunity to highlight our students and success stories, we take advantage of it. We also have some on our website.
Yeah, all the Frank, all of the EOCs and ATTAIN Labs have websites, and as a network, we just completed a social media and branding exercise statewide. So we're continuing to encourage everyone to post early and often any success stories and information that would be pertinent to their respective communities. So the answer is yes, by all means.
Good
okay,
afternoon.
That's great.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry. Hi, Frank. Good afternoon. This is Michelle Clark coming back on for a moment just to say that I think we've gone through all of the questions and answers in the chat feature as well as the Q&A feature here on the webinar. And I want to take a moment once again to thank you all for participating in this webinar today. We've spent a great deal of time and put a lot of energy and effort into bringing these resources to you today. I'd like to especially thank Deputy Commissioner and Director Robert Macarone, Dr. John Graham, Ms. Lisa McKay, and Dr. Roosevelt Marius, especially thank you from the Rochester EOC, as well as Mr. Wade Davis for your participation today. And I do see your comment that, you know, we can put you on billboard to tell the world your story, and we'd be happy to do so, my dear. And thank you again to Kent Goldwire, Karen Weick, Patty Boudry, and everyone who participated in this program. Frank Cangiano, Melinda Vick, behind the scenes, Taylor Vogt, Alfred from the Office of Probation and Correctional Alternatives. We're very grateful to all of you for being part of this endeavor. We hope that all of you in the audience learned a great deal about what the Educational Opportunity Centers and ATTAIN Labs, outreach centers, et cetera, can offer you and your participants. And please know that Frank Cangiano is going to be sharing some information with you after this webinar. And Frank, I will let you give them a brief explanation of what that's going to look like by way of an email shortly.
Yes. All the EOC ATTAIN Labs as well. Their addresses, contact information, as well as some other informational flyers that are also available on their public domain website as well. So hopefully this will just be a bridge for you to really start doing some in-depth research into these services that are offered. Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, thank you, Frank. And again, thank you to all of our partners at SUNY University Center for Academic and Workforce Development, Rochester Educational Opportunity Centers, and the ATTAIN Labs across the state. And thank you again for joining. Have a great day.